having a face and a person that people can, relate to and just kind of know, like, and trust, it honestly makes it so much easier than just a logo or a brand or like some cheesy, advertisement that people share with a phone number on it. When they can just relate to a local person, it just feels more natural to want to do business with you or refer you or, see you and your family.
Welcome to Movified Wednesdays. Let's go. Welcome to Movified Wednesdays.
Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmons and Ellis Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. It's a rainy day today, but at least it's not minus 20, right, Kurt? That's right. I couldn't do Wednesdays alone without my co-host Stephen Reed with Big League Movers, On Deck Deliveries, and ReadyRolls.com. Thank you. Look, some people see supercars as a flex. I know sometimes I do. Others see them as toys. I definitely don't. I think they're sick to have and to own. But today we got two moving company owners who sees them as a strategy. And we all should as well too, because we're going to go deeper. We're going to find out how this works. We're going to talk about personal branding, how to utilize that, how to make this an ROI, why personal branding is becoming just as important as your business branding, why the biggest brands are actually leaning into people, and why leadership today requires getting comfortable by being uncomfortable. Today,
quite frankly, every time I hang out with Kurt and Chris, the next time I'm walking by a supercar showroom, I'm all looking, like seriously looking. So if it's within 30 days and I happen to walk by one, like I'm in a danger zone, because these guys really have made it an investment and gotten a return from that investment and said, hey, you know what? I really want to have one of these. How can I have one of these? So I'm excited about this episode, but also a little scared. So I want to do that caution sign to a lot of us ADHDers out there, right? The impulse buyer.
We got two past guests that we'd love to introduce. You've seen them all over the internet. It's Chris Knowles with True Friends out in Nashville, Tennessee.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's going on, Chris?
Yeah.
And we got Kurt Hintz with Max Moving and Storage. What's up, Kurt?
Thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure.
Awesome guest. Exciting show today. By the way, Chris and I are hungry for revenue. We're not used to being negative 20, and our towns have been frozen, and our trucks have not been able to hit the road. It's been sheer ice. Like, it looks fun out there. It looks pretty.
A lot of rescheduling.
I saw you wipe out in front of your house, Chris. We had one of our staff members go down just recently too. So it happens even when you're used to it.
Oh man, when I fell, I was just hoping that it was on camera. It was such a good fall.
Oh, that was so good. Your fall. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen, you gotta look up
Over
Chris
my
Knowles.
head.
I think the best and the cutest part was your daughter coming and giving you a hug, like looking
that
at you,
was.
you're talking to her,
That
and
was
then
the
gives
best.
you this big hug.
She's a little ball of empathy, man. She's such a little caregiver. I love it.
I feel like my son would probably come back and laugh and then like walk away and be like, buddy, like, come on.
Yeah.
He'd be like calling me out. Look, today's pre-trip is brought to you by Movified Nation's Movified Masterminds, where movers learn how to lead with clarity, humility, execution, because growth isn't about staying the same. We all know that. The groups are growing. The groups have been fantastic. We have almost been doing it for about a year now, and it just keeps getting better and better. So topic-led with moderators. If you're interested, check out movifiednation.com, select masterminds, fill out that quick form. Chris, what do you think? I'd love some feedback from you. You've been involved in Group 1 Mastermind.
Group 1 for life.
What's your thoughts?
Masterminds are great, man. You definitely get to meet some new people. Really just hearing some different aspects. Everybody kind of deals with the same stuff, but just different viewpoints, in different regions. It's great to hear the different perspectives, honestly. Every time I meet someone with a moving company doing, they'll do it their way, and it might be better, honestly. We think we know it all, but it's always good to learn from other people, and I'm always down to learn, a better way to do something.
Before we ever started using a moving CRM, someone asked me, could you 10x what you're doing right now with the current systems and processes you have in place? And I said, no. And so he was like, well, then you need to just pull the trigger on the software. And then I saw Smart Moving and it was game over.
Austin joined thousands of moving owners on Smart Moving in 2021. Since then, he's more than doubled his business.
And I always compare Smart Moving to Apple products. It's just so simple, so easy to use. And that's really what's allowed my team to scale and now have 2 branches. And last year we scaled Central Coast Moving over 50% growth.
If you're ready to turn your moving company into a machine that drives profit, not chaos, try Smart Moving.
Hey everyone, Matty Mailers here, the guy who pioneered handwritten letters for the moving industry. Why? Because my competition at my moving company was using the same stock postcards as me, and my mailing company didn't care. So I created a better way. Here's some mind-blowing results in July. Miracle Movers Utah closed $93,000 using our handwritten letter strategy. With our campaigns, you can forget about the guessing games. You get a trackable phone number, daily photo proof, an incredible design team, and I'm also included. All letters stop at me for approval before they ever leave our facility. Right now, Movified listeners get 1,000 golden tickets stuffed in our genuine handwritten letters completely free. Plus, I'm going to throw in bulk realtor data for up to 5 counties. What are you waiting for? Moving Letters AI. Stop competing, start dominating.
Great job on that transition, Mark, by the way. You're getting real smooth. Almost too smooth just to transition into that. This has been brought to you by...
This transition actually even brings us to day 42. I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that I regret that I'm going to make sure that happens in volume 2 of the Moving Mastermind is that if you miss a day, I am going by all the days. I am not just going on and saying, hey, this is February 2nd, 3rd. January was easy to run through, but when you get into February, you're like, wait a second, what day am I on again? So make sure you're consistent on your day-to-day. This is day 42.
Mark, check this out. Look at this. Look at this wear and tear that I've already got on this book.
I like it. It looks like you spilled juice on it, your coffee, like everything.
This thing's traveling the road.
I'm going to need you to sign my copy. I'm going to bring it with me, Mark.
Done in Orlando. Yeah, I'll definitely have some copies out there for you.
Hey, you know what? I got a tip on the travel tips with this big old book. It's every day's about 2 pages. And so I've been taking my phone and before I go on the trip, I've been taking a picture of each page. So as I'm going, because I did 2 trips already with it, and man, it's feeling
next year's versions we broken down into 4 different volumes based on the quarters of the year because
look how Mark listens to our feedback. You see that? That's the author that cares right there.
Well, Kurt says that if somebody pisses him off in the office, he just throws the book at him. So it's like, you got some good weight right there. He goes, oh, you need a doorstop? Hold on a second. Let me go
get my green book.
Yeah, let me go get my green book. Look, teach me your ways, right? Strong leaders seek correction rather than avoid it. It's something that we probably all struggle with all the time. A moving company owner or a moving company needs constant course adjustment. Systems tuned, processes improved, leadership refined, and blind spots exposed. No one grows by defending weakness. Growth happens when you surrender pride and allow God to correct your course. Teach me your ways. I think it's super important. It's one of those things that, have you guys ever found yourself, I'll start with you, Chris, where you realize, hey, I need a course correction, like in just your day-to-day habits?
That I needed a course correction? I mean, yeah, that's why I try to constantly feed myself with positive things, whether it's reading, whether it's a webinar, something like that, to just stay on track. It's easy to get distracted or, I have ADD. So of course, it's easy for me to get distracted, of course, but, staying on track. That's why time blocking is so important for me. I do pretty well at it, honestly. I feel like I stay pretty dialed in on what I need to do. But at the same time, I'm always looking for an edge, and it usually, maybe takes talking to somebody else, like you guys.
Yeah, Mark, when hearing this, I was thinking, speaking of ADHD, I don't know if anybody saw my camera during that. But it makes me think about, like, wait a minute, I had some ambitious goals in January. I might not hit if I don't get back on the horse. I'm neglecting some of those things that I said I wanted to do on January 1st, right? So it was a good reflection point for me to read this and hear this today.
One of the best ways I do course corrections is to change up my environment, to travel, get out of the normal routine. Because when you disrupt your routine, as we all know, when you exercise or when you do a workout, if you stay with the consistent routine constantly, eventually the muscles will start to just get used to it, and you won't see the improvement. So if you change it up, change up your routine, change up your environment, I think that's huge for reigniting the visionary mindset and keeping us moving forward towards the goals. I think it's super important. But yeah, it's a normal thing to need that adjustment.
If you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we had 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Your mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
You remind me of like my grade 8 art teacher where you work on a painting, and after about 20 minutes, she would say, stop, drop your pen, right? Walk away, go get a drink of water, and come back. Because if you worked on that painting from the start to the end, like the whole day, your picture is going to just start going blur. Like things you think look really good is not happening with your picture. So if you stop, come back, it's almost like you've refocused, right? And now you actually are seeing, oh, wait a second, there's an imperfection here. Oh, I got to fix this. Or actually, I'm going to scrap this and start all over again. Because like you said, you've had time. I think that's why it's so important sometimes to get out, go to the gym sometimes during the day, or like start off your days. Maybe you need that weekend trip just to, fix your mindset. So I like that. Listen, I want to kind of get right into this because let's talk about what makes a lot of owners uncomfortable. Personal branding. I give you a shout out to someone like Austin Yarbrough, someone like you, especially Chris, that is out there all the time having like this personal brand, whether it's, and we've talked about it when you're on the podcast last time, everything's blue. You got blue behind you. You got a blue hoodie. Your car is blue. The trucks are blue. I'm surprised your house isn't painted blue. Everybody knows you, and I remember we just had our Christmas winter party with the staff, and I was like, shit, man, like, I feel like I need like a red suit for Salmons. Like I'm not Chris Knowles here. I need you got the blue suits. It's everything assembles your brand and who you are. And I love the content that you're putting out there. How, like, when you think of that, of trying to get out of that comfort, because you weren't like filming yourself all the time prior. When did you start realizing that, hey, like this is what I need to do in order to also build True Friends brand?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to, a lot of people say it, but shout out to Reagan Wise. I mean, he's big on the personal branding, just getting out there, Even like the things I learned from a moving Titans retreat, just getting on camera, stopping in different neighborhoods, things like that. So just getting out of your comfort zone, getting uncomfortable, or getting comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the biggest, some of the hardest things. Most business owners and CEOs, especially of moving companies, they're all like behind the scenes. Like I couldn't tell you, most of these guys like out there, but it's getting in front of them, especially like local pages. I mean, I don't know what you guys have in your cities, but here in Middle Tennessee, it's called HIP. We've got like HIP Nashville, HIP Hermitage, HIP Mount Juliet. So the same things that I share here, I'll share there, and they get so much more engagement and traction. But having a face and a person that people can, relate to and just kind of know, like, and trust, it honestly makes it so much easier than just a logo or a brand or like some cheesy, advertisement that people share with a phone number on it. When they can just relate to a local person, it just feels more natural to want to do business with you or refer you or, see you and your family. It's just way more relatable.
I gotta hear that too. Like when I hear that, I see so many people that are like, "What? You put your logo, you put a sticker on your car with your moving company? Why would you do that?" And that's a crazy thought. Like, what do you like? You were there to represent your company. If that gets you one move on a drive to drop your kids off or whatever it is, it's more awareness. So there's always people that are hesitant to have their company brand on their vehicle, and I think to me that's crazy.
Yeah, I've got the logo on the truck. That's like my daily. My website. My tag on my car is Major Moves. Like even though it doesn't say True Friends Moving, people always ask about that, and it's like, of course, it's an easy introduction.
You got that little style that gets that curious question on it. I like that.
Yeah, definitely, it helps, man.
It gets more thought. That's the whole point. Is more thought towards your brand, right?
Kurt, for yourself, you're not out there so much on social media. Do you look towards more of how do you focus on a personal brand as opposed to just like always filming yourself?
I'm in a small town, so my brand is pretty widely known, and everybody attributes me to this area anyways. So when it comes to like my community, it's a different side. Chris is in a massive market compared to our small little market. So I just don't have the social media presence that he has, and it's respectable nonetheless. But in a small town, a lot of people know you need whether it's mover or storage or lease space for commercial space. People know in this market that I'm the person to call. And if I don't have something, I probably know somebody that does.
Dude, Kurt is such a legend in his town. I'll just say this for him, that my news feed picks up that he's tagged so many times in the Lake Geneva groups. I'm not even part of these groups, and they're like, you'd be interested in this because your friend gets hit in these so many times. So I can attest to that in this town. He is the brand. Handles that with class. Yeah.
And that's what I built my whole business and my whole brand in this community with that. It's because it's so small. If you do right by people, the good word spreads. That could also be a death sentence too. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's kind of a testament to how you can focus your brand. For those that are watching and listening, going, look, if you're in a small town, it sometimes doesn't matter that you need to be on camera day in, day out and have this constant personal brand, but it's about building trust, right? And being present, being reliable, having a great attitude. And for all those that like any kind of community involvement that you can be in, especially being in a small town, you need to make sure that you're there as the owner, representing your company, who you are, and what you offer. And I think that goes and speaks testaments all the way. Move and shift over to someone like Chris Knowles, that's in like a larger metropolitan area. There's lots more moving companies out there, and there's a lot more opportunity to build that personal brand. You kind of want to focus yourself in front of the camera, filming content all day, every day, whenever you can, and making sure that you're out there. Would you guys kind of agree to that?
Yeah, Middle Tennessee is definitely a much more competitive market. I don't know how far you go into like the suburbs of Chicago, Kurt, but that may be something to tip on. I mean, obviously Chicago's a giant city, but as far as us, we might do something in one side of the town. I mean, it's still, I mean, one part of Middle Tennessee might be an hour and a half from the other part. So if we're doing something cool over here, we'll share it way over here because everybody won't hear about it otherwise. So like whether we're doing some community involvement thing over here, we'll just blast it out to all the local community pages so it feels like we're right there doing something local in that area.
Yeah, I want to point out too, like a trend in myself too, and Mark. The key that everybody on here realizes is they love their hometown and how important they are in their hometown, and in that love is a good look for their business, right? Like Kurt is really involved in the town, right? He is the face of the place. That's why everybody knows Max in his market, right? Chris wears the brand proudly at everything he can in the Nashville scene, giving back to the community, making his employees proud to wear the same brand, understanding that every employee is a marketer themselves. And I just wanted to point that out. That's a key thing for these two hometown dominators in different markets, and how they've carried themselves with their brand.
I built a personal brand because I want to ask both of you guys, right? So I built this personal brand. I'm a business company owner. I am looking to exit out of my company, right? So let's talk about you, Chris. Everybody knows you. You are True Friends. I'm getting out. I'm selling True Friends. I'm out. For the person that's buying your company, that goes, man, well, Chris, you are the face of the company. Like I could lose like tons of revenue. I might not be getting as much return anymore because I'm not the face of the company. You are. For those, is that somewhere where you need to, as a business owner, start looking at internally, finding someone in your office, whether it's management, someone that's in sales, that could be the next face that actually should also start building that next personal brand? And do you also start trying to introduce those employees into the filming, into the footage, so that you can step away to have your own?
Some of the things we're working on is actually building kind of characters and them kind of like having their own voice. Like we've been doing some cool little skits recently, including some of the guys, and it just makes it more relatable. The more people you can like piece together, maybe like it's one guy's a younger black guy, maybe one's an older guy with a beard. It kind of relates to each person, but like everybody kind of has an avatar, and you relate to somebody. The more that you can add in there, absolutely. I also have a mascot though. The mascot everybody loves. He's super recognizable. He's freaking 6 foot tall, and it don't matter who's in it, honestly, because he's a mascot. So he's just as well known, honestly, more than me. People take pictures with him, not with me.
I feel like that's actually a big push too. Is just if you have the opportunity to have a mascot, is to heavily invest in like your own brand and have that kind of pushing out even more, because then it doesn't really matter.
I kind of want to button up on something there. I noted something that Chris pointed out too. But go ahead, Kurt. I want to hear your perspective on that. Being such a powerful brand person.
Well, in regards to the question about an exit, I think that is a relevant concern. But most of the time, if you build that brand and that recognition up enough where it's worthy of a private equity firm or something looking at you, just like Brian Slater was with New City. I mean, he was very much the face of New City, but the transition still can happen. So there's ways to manage it. I mean, even Toby and Smart Moving. I mean, it's people. If the person stays on and is a part of the transition, it will go as smooth as it possibly can. I don't think it's anything to get caught up on, but it is a valid point. And I think just the more momentum and the more progress you get with the brand, the power is there regardless. It's a residual effect.
Honestly, I think it might just be a even better exit. I mean, honestly, I would love to sell the operation, but still be a branding ambassador. And
that's what I was wanting to button up. Is like, there's a value to that. There's a total value to that after the exit, that you can continue to be the brand without the operation.
I'll give you an extra 2 hours a week, to shoot content for this much, per hour, whatever.
When you expand, and now have different you have different sources of income. You know, and I'm going to use you, Chris, for a second. You got the storage facilities. You have different investments, different opportunities. You might have Instagram pages for this one company. You might have another one for this one company. Do you then try to say, okay, well, if you go to Chris Knowles' Instagram account, right, or Facebook account, I'm pushing all these different markets because I'm heavily involved in these different investments.
Yeah, definitely. I try to stay in like the same essentially lane. I mean, everything is kind of complementary to one another. So like obviously warehousing, storage, truck parking, moving, packing, all these kind of relate to each other. So it's kind of like the same thing. So I can jointly collaborate everything together and it not just seem like I'm way over here and way over there.
I like that. That makes sense. Let's kind of switch the script here and start going into what me and Steven really want to talk about, which is supercars.
For sure.
One of my favorite experiences, and I had so much joy in it, was when I was last year in Nashville and got to have a dinner with Chris and a bunch of great friends and peers at a restaurant, and he had his McLaren parked out front. I feel like that restaurant he had like a sign that just said reserved for Chris Knowles, but he told me it's not true.
Hey, they'll move people out of the way for that thing.
I was going to say, I think the car.
That's right. You don't need that handicap symbol anymore. You just have to have a supercar and you get automatic.
That's it, man.
Front parking. But I had the pleasure of trying to climb into this McLaren as a big guy, sit in it, kind of get the feel for what it's like to be in, over $250,000, almost $500,000 vehicle, which was really cool. And I appreciate that, Chris. Let's kind of talk about it because you and Kurt also both own McLarens. I kind of want to know, like, why McLaren? Because it's really popular. I've got Dan Martell as a coach of mine. He drives a McLaren. He talks about even the McLaren bicep, which is, the fitness aspect of the same type of having a supercar. They look at you from a fitness aspect of going, oh, this guy, works out. He must mentally, this is how he runs his operations, his business, his life. What makes you guys want to go with a McLaren? Kurt, I'll start with you because you also had a Lamborghini before this.
Yeah, so I've always been a car guy. Before I had the Lamborghini, I had a Nissan GTR, which is a great performance vehicle, especially bang for the buck. So I've always been a car guy. I had a goal as a young teenager to own a Lamborghini Murcielago at some point. And I still have the die-cast car somewhere in my storage area. So I've always been a car enthusiast, just in general. There you go. So it's the Lamborghini was, everybody knows the name, right? Along with Ferrari. McLaren was not really as well known. It still really isn't in compared to, Lamborghini and Ferrari. So when I got originally when I got the Lambo, it was I had met a guy that had a McLaren, a Lamborghini Huracan, and a Porsche in his garage, and I was doing a safe move for him. So he had all three of these supercars in his garage, and I was just like blown away. Like, I can't have one, you've got three? Like, that was so impressive to me. And just starting talking to him, and he came to Lake Geneva all the time and had a big group of guys that he would drive with, and he invited me to come ride with them or drive with them in my Nissan. But the invite never actually realized. And so I felt like it was because that car really didn't pass the smell test with that group. So, and maybe I was partially true, maybe not at the same time. But when I ended up getting a Lamborghini, I reached out to him and said, hey, I'm looking to get this car wrapped. Do you know anybody that is capable of wrapping this car? And immediately I was, brought into the group and started getting invited to these little drives and then eventually the rallies. And Chris and I have talked about rallies. We just gotta sit down and actually ink one together because we've talked about going together. We've done different rallies in different parts of the country, but that's one of my favorite things. I did Crown Rally, yeah. So it's just a great experience in general. But the way I got into the McLaren ultimately was The Lambo was what I thought was the pinnacle. And when a buddy of mine had a Lamborghini Huracan, and then he got a McLaren 720. And so the two of us were driving together on the highway, and he blew past me so fast. It was like I was in a Toyota Camry. It was just ridiculous. I couldn't believe how much faster that car was than my Lamborghini. So it was at that point, I looked into it some more, and I bought my first 720, and I just can't see going anywhere else. I know a lot of guys that like the McLarens also end up in the Porsches. I can't fall in love with the Porsche. I've tried. The only issue that the McLaren has is the older models had some electronic issues. But other than that, that car is just, the power, the comfort, the features, the looks, the aesthetics, the sound. You can't check every box like you can with a McLaren.
His wife knows that she's got competition. I'm sleeping in the car tonight.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, so same, man. Car guy through and through forever. I started with a Mustang, and then just kind of worked my way up ever since. I've had definitely faster and faster, of course. Yeah, I think my first actual, I guess you would say, supercar was an R8. I absolutely loved it. Since then, I swapped over to McLaren. I love them. The doors go up, so of course my kids were asking when we were looking at the one, and I remember pointing them to a Lambo as well, and they were like, "Do the doors go up?" And I was like, "No, baby, that's the McLaren." And she was like, "Oh no, definitely the McLaren." Then. So for kids, it's the simple things, but honestly, it's pretty cool too. Not to mention they're freaking blazing fast. I've had 3 now. So after this last one, man, it checks all the boxes. It's obviously the perfect color blue. So I've had 3, and this one is actually the right blue for True Friends Moving. So everything ties around branding for me.
I don't mean to interrupt and bring up a sore subject, but I also know that you had one that got totaled by a technician or something.
Oh, that hurt, man. Yeah.
When I saw those pictures, I was like, no. I thought you were in the car too, so I was worried about your safety. But
yeah,
man,
that was a 650 I had a few years ago, man. I was getting some mods done to it. I actually had a track day the next day. So they were just finishing up some mods, getting that thing tuned and dialed in. And I was limited on time, of course, being in the moving business. I'm like, "Hey, man, can you bring it back to me?" He was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." He gets T-boned by a drunk driver in the middle of the day. And so that hurt, man, especially after getting it, exactly the way I wanted it. That was a big loss. Not really on cost. I was insured, of course, but it's just a big loss, because something I built. I think I actually made a little bit from that, but at
Is
the
that
end of the day,
specialty insurance that y'all have to carry? I'd imagine it's so State Farm just as a policy form, or?
Yeah, you want to be strategic with it. That was another thing that I quickly found with the car group is the first insurance that I got on my Aventador. I was paying like $4,000 or $5,000 a year, which I didn't really think anything of it for a $300,000-$400,000 car. It just wasn't totally crazy. And talking to one of the guys I met at the group, and he's like, "I'm paying like $200 a month." Like, what? And he told me who he was insured with, and I went back to my agent and said, "How come this guy's paying less?" And she found a better policy, and it's more expensive to insure my daily driver and my wife's SUV than it is to insure my McLaren.
Who is that through? Because I'm still paying more.
Cincinnati. You're welcome.
Cincinnati, okay.
Yeah, Cincinnati policy. They have a special policy where you have to have 3 cars. 1 has to be a high value. The other 2 could be dailies.
Chris got that pin out quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm circling it over here.
Well, look, this is kind of where I want to take it, because prior to getting on the show, we were talking about how does this work, right? And you don't even have to be a moving company owner. I just want to talk hey, I'm a business owner. We see it all the time. I see it all the time in Vancouver. My office is in the city of nothing but supercars driving around town, because we have a lot of the Asians that live within our city, and they all, right? This is what they do. Everybody's driving brand new G-Wagons, Porsches, Lamborghinis, McLarens. We just moved a $3.5 million piano to someone's house the other day. where they took out, and we're talking about valuation. This is off topic. This is ADD, but that was a $28,000 valuation that the client paid. Nothing happened. Everything was created. We do it perfectly. And like, you know, aside from like upping our insurance value, which costs a couple grand, I mean, that's straight profit, right? So, I mean, I tell people all the time, like, if you're not selling this, like, get on it and make sure that your guys know exactly what they are doing, or you could be really screwed on some of that. So,
hey Chris, I think we should do a rally up to Vancouver.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
that sounds like a good time.
And then you know what a lot of them do is they do the Sea to Sky Highway. So they do the rally that goes from Vancouver up to Whistler, and you're just going along this beautiful coastline. It's pretty unbelievable. So it's a lot of people do that, and then they stay the night in Whistler, and then they make their way back, right? So, okay, so this is kind of sorry, you know what? So just so everybody understands, I keep having to mute Steven. He's been warned so many times by my VAs that do all the editing to wear headphones, and he gets the stupid echo.
You're outnumbered. I'm
gonna keep muting. I'm gonna keep muting all the time. I'm winning. Poor Steven.
Can I talk
Steven,
now?
you can you can. I didn't mean. Go for it.
So I don't even remember what I'm saying now.
Dude, so off.
I think we were getting there. Well, like, while these cars are important.
It's what about how you make money on these cars? Because I've heard it as friends. I've heard the conversations and stuff, and they have. Every time I talk to them and ask about the supercar, they have a relationship that just got them a move that day. Right. So that's really what I want to start digging in is how did this, if it was a surprise or not, no matter. But how did this all of a sudden get you in a different networking group, different moves, different opportunities for your career?
I'll kickstart this one if you want. So the first thing I would say is who's your target customer, your ICP? So I look at our ideal customer profile is somebody with above average income and typically a homeowner. So a homeowner that owns a home for $500,000+ that has disposable income, doesn't want to move themselves, has maybe had a bad moving experience in the past, so they know who to look for and who to hire because they don't want to have that bad experience again because they went with the cheapest company or the franchise. So supercar owners fit that box. Like they're right in that realm. Plus, they're the type of people, again, being a car guy helps. I genuinely appreciate cars. I'm enthusiastic about it. So that is a big part of it. But also just hanging out with like-minded, because a lot of those guys are business owners. A lot of those guys have companies of their own. They have their own experiences, their own challenges, and whether it's they're typically not moving company owners. Surprisingly enough, I mean, I haven't met another. Well, I take that back. I saw one guy that had a Ferrari that was a real old one, but he was technically a moving company owner. But there's always the banker, there's always the realtors, and the startup guys and whoever else, how they made their fortune. But there's rarely the moving company owner that's in that group. So you can fill that void in your local market.
So for me,
see what I mean?
Like
Where you're going to start walking by the McLaren store, looking at it a little different now, Mark.
Well, jump, Mark, so we can get you something and go up there and do a rally.
You know what? Those vehicles are so low to the ground. I'm a G-Wagon kind of guy. I drive a G-Wagon. I like something I can like climb into.
They're
Dude,
cool,
Mark, there is a way to get in and out of the McLaren that you will be graceful. Trust me. I'll walk you.
I feel like last time I was in it, I had to like tuck, drop, and roll.
Yeah, because there's a certain way to get in, and there's certain ones that are easier to get in and out of too. I know the struggle. I used to look like an idiot for a good 2-3 months before I'm like, God, there's got to be a better way to do this.
I don't know how Chris does it with his shoulders. Like I'm just like always impressed.
It's all about sitting first.
Way to get into it. You just figure it out, and you just sit down and swing your legs in.
Yeah, you got to sit. A lot of people try to do like a motion like you would into a normal car. You got to sit down first, and then you just kind of swing yourself in.
Chris is a Georgia boy. He'll Dukes a Hazzard it.
Hey man, I'm hopping right in over the top. You already know.
Yeah.
Hey, I also just to point out, Chris is a muscle car guy too. So he's hit
Absolutely.
this group. He's hitting 2 different car groups now.
Yeah.
So
I
he's
try
got
to
a
make it better.
Camaro rebuild on YouTube, I believe, right?
Yeah. 68 Camaro, man. That's my baby right there. So I'll never sell that one. I would probably honestly sell the McLaren and get something different, eventually. But the Camaro, any classic that I build, I'm never selling them. So that was a fun build. But just to touch on like your question, I mean, to me, these cars are like magnets, man. It gets people like to come up and ask you like, "Hey, what kind of car is that? What do you do?" And then I'm like, boom, instantly, true friends moving. Like they wouldn't remember me if I was in a regular vehicle. Like I would just, it wouldn't even be noticeable, honestly. But people notice you. People want to talk to you. People want to know what you do. How do you get a car like that? Honestly, it's great for recruiting. People are like, "I want to work for you." I was like, "Bro, I'll send them I'll send a a link to apply right online." Or, if I go to an event, usually I'll bring the moving truck too. So I'll make sure to park it right beside my moving truck. And then the thousands of people that are taking pictures of my car, True Friends Moving is right behind it. So like that's free branding. I mean, the thing pays for itself anytime I take it out. Like it's a no-brainer.
Has anybody here heard of Daniel Mack? Yeah, so he's the guy that asks car owners. That's like his entire. He's got like 3 billion views on social media and 14. And he goes around and asks supercar owners what they do for a living. It's a conversation starter.
It's a crazy aspect because I remember growing up and my dad always being like, "Don't ever drive a super fancy car as a business owner," because the employees are always going to go, "Well, he must be making way too much money and we're not making enough money. So, drive a humble vehicle. It doesn't have to be a ship box, but like, be respectful on it." And it's so interesting listening to this perspective because like, I completely agree with you. It's, to have this, and this is where we're going to lead into our next topic, but to have this investment, to have this vehicle that helps generate business, that is a conversation starter, makes a lot more sense than being like, "Oh, great, yeah, I'm just rolling into my, with my, Toyota Corolla, to the office," right? And it also should show some kind of precedence. Like
y'all
you
got
said,
him.
Chris,
Look at him. Y'all got him.
As
He
for
talked
recruiting,
himself into
you
it.
got him. I'm hooked. But like as for recruiting everything else, right? And this is why you see guys like Dan Martell, especially online too, that will have his supercars out and have like groups of kids and young teenagers kind of going, "Man, like, how did you get there? What do you do?" And where they get this opportunity to go, "Man, you can get here as well too."
I want to point out what your father said, and there is something to be said for the perception that people may have, and that could be employees and that could be customers. And there is something there, and the way that I overcame it, for one, especially with employees, is if you can't establish the level of respect, and if you're not taking care of them to the point where they are able to, or at least you set them up for success within your company, that's problem number one. But I don't really have the issue, and several of my employees have been in my car. I've even let some of them drive it. And I'm sure I'm going to have an employee or two that's going to listen to this podcast, and I'll tell them right now, if you want to take it for a ride, let's go. I'll let them drive it. I've got no problem with that because we have the respect and the relationship, and they know that I do my job, they do their job, and that's why this works. And that's why you're here.
I will say, though, I do drive a pickup truck as my daily, so I'm not just coming up to the office flossing every day.
It's true, too.
It's a very blue-collar environment, so I definitely don't try to come across like that. But, outside of that, I mean, I love bringing it out and getting the team involved. They love doing those branding and community events with it.
Which I really like. We're gonna take a dolly dash moment here, boys.
Hold on, I want to say something real
with...
quick, Mark, before the dolly dash, because that gets crazy. It gets wild during the dolly dash, gentlemen. It gets wild. But one, I have to say this as an American. I understand that y'all are giving up cars in general and going to Chinese models. No, y'all haven't heard the Canada exchange with China. They're wiping out cars over here.
I just bought a Chinese car.
Did you get one of those?
It's at my investment property overseas, and it's
That's what they're saying. It's going to be all over Canada now.
it's a badass car. I gotta be honest.
Well, there you go, Mark. Look at that.
I have to say it's unfortunate. I was listening to the news this morning, and we're going back again off topic, but this whole tariffs and issues, a lot of American wineries are struggling huge because nobody is purchasing American wine anymore up in Canada. A lot of the manufacturers, the truck and vehicle manufacturers up in Ontario, have gotten messy where there's been tons and tons of layoffs because they used to help manufacture tons of parts for the United States. And with all the tariffs and everything else, I think it's got to get figured out because it's all kind of wonky and crazy. But anyways, we're not here to talk about politics. We're here to talk about Dolly Dash, boys. Dolly Dash. Chris, one uncomfortable thing you did that paid off professionally. Just anything. One uncomfortable thing that you did.
I mean, he fell in his driveway and showcased it.
That was definitely uncomfortable. That's one of my most popular videos ever. I mean, honestly, getting comfortable on camera, that's the biggest uncomfortable thing that I did that continues to pay off. I mean, I was behind the scenes forever. I mean, for 10 years, I didn't really do much on camera, and then just putting myself out there more. That's probably the most uncomfortable thing I did in business. I mean, going out in person wasn't as hard for me, but for some reason, man, the judgment and the I don't know what I was expecting, but nobody really gives a shit. If they don't like it, they'll just scroll past it. So, the fear of what other people may think is just like, it's fake, man. It ain't even real. Like, who cares? Put yourself out there. You're going to be judged regardless, so just do you.
Well, I got to say, it's hard to follow what Chris just said because I agree 100%, and I commend you for it. I've been watching what you're doing. I know we all have. It's really cool. I just shared a couple of your videos with my management team just earlier this week, and that one was one of them. Yeah, that's why you inspired us to share the one with one of our girls falling here too on our page because it was funny and she laughed about it. She didn't get hurt. As long as nobody gets hurt and you can all have fun, and not caring about what people think is something that is next level as well. But I think the most uncomfortable for me, I'll go two. One being delegating was something that I really was uncomfortable with. Was effectively delegating. It's pretty cliche, and I think there's a million people out there that can say that it is uncomfortable, but it's worth doing. So I think the one that I would rather touch on would be more of hiring a coach or a mentor or an accountability coach, whatever you want to call them, that really the relationship you have with that individual is designed to push you out of your comfort zone. It's designed to hold you. Yeah, the accountability and then just somebody that you can build trust with that's going to just be direct with you. And I became addicted to that. And so like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is something that I totally live my life by, because to the point where if I find myself getting comfortable, I start looking around like this is a trap. Something's wrong. Because it shouldn't. It's like, and I tell my kids that all the time too. I tell my staff the same thing. Like if it's easy, something's wrong. You should have to work harder for it than that. And so, yeah, I mean, just that's it. I mean, having a coach, I think, is the most undervalued asset that I have.
And as I know you, Kurt, I got to say, I'm just damn proud of you on the delegation part.
Thank you. That was hard too. But it's also like looking back, why was this so hard? Like this,
yeah, agree.
It really shouldn't be that hard because it makes sense logically. Once you start doing it, you're like, why was I not doing this? But at the same time, I just helped my ops manager kind of start taking the same steps of delegating because he had the same issues. He's got a very entrepreneurial mindset in that regard, and he struggled to delegate because he was afraid of the blowback of them failing. And so once I recognized that, I used some of the things I learned at Tim's Built to Move event. I mean, there was a great example of how to. I didn't look at it from my perspective. I looked at it like I can use this to teach my leadership how to become more effective at delegating and get them to value time the same way. And now I have leaders building leaders.
So this is a great dolly, but this is not a good dash.
All right, we'll speed it up. We'll speed it up.
All right, let's speed it up. What do you think is one mistake owners make trying to build a personal brand?
I think they try too hard, and try too hard and inconsistent. Go.
What did they mistake with personal branding? Ooh, I guess just not getting out of their comfort zone and not trying. I mean, not trying is the fastest way to fail.
I'll share one too real quick, but it's not being
bad at it. You might want to crop this, but being bad at it and letting that stop you. You got to be bad before you get good. Anything takes practice.
But being superficial, showing all good. People don't have something to relate to in that world, right? So if you're going to be out there, show the challenges too.
You follow to stay authentic, not performative.
For me, it's being inquisitive and eager to learn.
Just putting myself out there and being vulnerable.
Okay, last one.
Both these guys are great for this one.
I know. Visibility or consistency? We talked about this just before, but which matters more and why?
I think consistency, honestly. Anything you do over time, you're just going to get better at it, like I was just saying. I mean, just be consistent, and continuously improving. The visibility will come probably from that, honestly.
I love it. Listen, everybody, this has been another Dolly Dash, an extended one. Not so much the dash, but this has also been brought to you by BHC Insurance, trusted since 1915. Steven asked myself, hey?
They got their money worth on that longer dash.
I know, exactly. Call Trey Scallion at 501-278-0105 or visit them at bhca.com. Make sure you ask them to run the Movified strategy for your company so they can help save you on insurance, and make sure that they're giving you the right levers to pull when you're talking to those insurance companies. So make sure you call Trey today. Okay, cool. Now, Steven talked about that part of the fun. I want to talk about this part. We start talking about my piano move. Tax strategies, write-offs, doing it right. I kind of want to figure it out because Chris has a different way he's doing it. Kurt, you have a different way of you're doing it. I kind of want to hear from Kurt first. I want to get a supercar. For most of us, we go and we get a decent, let's say we get a truck, right? A nice company vehicle. We're probably going to want to wrap it. Now we can use it as a write-off within the company. It's got the branding. I'm driving to and from home, like the whole 9 yards. I'm doing it as a lease because then I can write this off. But after 3 years, I'm giving it back. But then I'm thinking now we're going to a supercar, right? We're talking here. I'm leasing a $400,000 vehicle. I'm the business owner. Like, how am I utilizing this for tax purposes, writing it off, making it work so that, because I can only imagine what my monthly payments got to be on something like that, especially if I have like a $150,000 moving truck that I'm leasing. I already can in my head think of what that cost is going to be, not like a $400,000. So how am I justifying this? How am I making it work? Kurt, can you give me that breakdown of what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm going to preface right off the bat with I am not giving tax advice. So just so we're all clear, like I am not giving tax advice. I am qualified for that. And I have been scrutinized for the way that I do it by some of my advisories as well. So it is, I think it already goes into the gray area side of things. So yeah, if you're good with that, then you can follow along. But so I'll plug two different companies right off the bat. Putnam Leasing, the gentleman I work with named Eric, he's out of Scottsdale, Arizona. He was great. He did my first two actually. And then Tom Busen with Dream Lease is also a great resource. Both of them have the same type of, it's more of like a creative financing, but they call it leasing. And the quick skinny on it is they structure it in a way that reduces your monthly payment considerably. And they put it in the business name. So those two together, this is actually this leasing program that Dream Lease offers. They do offer it on a commercial sector too. They've approached me about as an opportunity to use it to buy trucks, because like you said, $150,000 truck, that loan payment, it's significant. It could be difficult to deal with.
That's so like $3,000-$4,000 a month that you're now figuring out how to pay.
Yeah, and so it's a real problem. And so this creative financing allows you to reduce the total monthly payment by putting a balloon at the end of it, essentially. So it is still leasing, but it's open-ended leasing. And then to violate the lease or to break the lease, in the case that I did with the supercars, was you just have a 1-month payment as a penalty. And it keeps the payments really aggressive, and they keep it all in the business name. And by doing so, you can theoretically take the deductions on that. What line item you put it in, I use it as a marketing expense.
And does that work? Is that like a good, effective line item to put it under, as opposed to some type of like operating expense? Or
well, that's how I decided it, because I look at it like this is a networking opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's how, and there's evidence of my company on the car. My license plate represents the company. So there is plenty of things that direct there. And to Chris's point, I also sponsor the local rallies, and we do like car shows with it. And that's very much part of that process. So like I said, the IRS, if they're going to listen to this, may come knocking on my door, and we'll learn. We'll find out that way. This is
right.
Yeah, so it's
for sure.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing it. That's how I've been advised to do it by other people that do it. Companies like Putnam, I think they used to be part of Penske. So don't quote me on that, but there's a lot of different strategies that this leasing type of model is used for, because otherwise your personal credit really can't handle it. I mean, you're good luck getting a mortgage if you got a $500,000 supercar loan.
Penske's always a good guess too, because they own everything. They own a lot.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, so I finance mine. I do 50-50, where it's 50% personal, 50% pleasure. But the same as Kurt, I mean, anytime I'm out there, I make it, I get it involved with like the moving company, True Friends. There's endless, content out there of the cars and the truck and the logos and the mascot. Everything all ties together. So 50-50 is totally fair. That's, totally understandable. And just figure out a way to pay for, a hobby, honestly. I mean, figure out a way to make it work with your business. I mean, I love cool cars, but I also love business. Mix the two together, man. It's like my favorite thing ever.
When it comes to trying to incorporate the business when you're doing like 50-50, are you sending your company then an invoice going, hey, you used my car, or is it still like separate? Like, am I taking it to a whole different level where, hey, you're utilizing my car like for business, that's marketing. So I'm like writing an invoice to the company to pay me.
I just write half the payment personally and half the payment through the business. That's it. I mean, my CPA says it's completely justifiable because you use it half the time for business.
I'm gonna go ahead.
What expense are you putting under, like an expense chart on the chart of accounts?
Marketing, for sure.
Marketing, okay.
Marketing, same thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I gotta say, if you're not ready to make that asset pay for itself, don't jump and get that asset. Listen to this episode. Get a plan together about how you're going to get involved, and be ready. If you have no time right now to even drive the supercar, and then you have no plan, right? So I just want to make sure, it's like, if you buy this, just man, stay to your plan that you started with, and getting those groups and getting that networking, and put your brand out there.
We recently hired Ready Rolls to help us with hiring some offshore help, some VAs, and they've done an amazing job. They found the perfect candidate for our company. Not only that, they helped answer the questions that we had about the process. Initially, hiring a VA can be a bit intimidating, but they answered all the questions. It's been an amazing experience. Our VA has been a huge part of our success thus far. We're actually in the process of hiring a few more right now. Definitely see them doing keep hard on our growth and reaching our goals in 2025. And the game changer for our company, I'm confident to be a game changer.
Visit ReadyRolls.com. There is now a better way to scale.
Well, I like that transition, Steve, because I was going to just follow up with going, like, how many hours do you find that you're putting yourself in, especially in the beginning with being involved with different groups, going to different events? You know, are you just considering this as part of going, well, look, this is like another networking event? You know, you're going to your family going, yeah, I'm going to be gone for 2 hours, because I also think a lot of these probably happen on a Saturday, right? As opposed to like a weekday evening where most networking events happen. You're now gone all day Saturday. You're on car rallies. You're meeting with people. How much time do you think the average person, when they're trying to do their planning, going, "Ooh, all right, cool. Like, this is the kind of supercar I want to get. This is what I want to do. I want to talk to, you know, this type of leasing company, and now I got to put in X amount of hours to make sure that I am getting an ROI on it."
Yeah, to me, it's 3 or 4 hours on a weekend. I mean, that's it. That's
so it's
my
not like a whole day.
half the time. The other few hours, it'll be for personal stuff. But at the same time, you know, you don't have to exclude anybody. If you got a wife or girlfriend, bring her with you. If you got kids, rotate them out. I mean, I've got 2 girls, so I mean, one might come one weekend and the other one might come the next. So I mean, I definitely try to make it a fun family event. It's not like, hey, I'm going to do car stuff by myself. I definitely try to, you know, get everybody involved, including my team. You know, a lot of things that we're out there doing. I get my guys, my mascot. I'll have a driver for my moving truck. Like, everybody is like, it's collaborative and it all works together. So it's definitely you know, a fun team outing that is for the community.
Yeah, I agree. To that point, I have 3 daughters, so if there was a 5-person supercar, it'd be even a 4-person, it'd be great. I mean, there's just not enough of them out there. But yeah, it's very seasonal too. So, you know, I'm obviously not driving it in negative 20 degrees salty weather. So my car sits probably 6 months out of the year. I try to go on a couple rallies a year, ideally at least one, but 2 to 3 would be preferable. And those are usually like a 3-4 day sprint. So
and make sure that you have a garage, right, to keep this into.
Yeah, that's
like
a prerequisite.
Temperature controlled garage.
Yeah, I know Chris and I both run a lift in our garage, so which really helps with kids too. That's a game changer, because you just put the car in the lift and then it's out of the way from the bicycle.
Easiest way to add a space, man. Put a lift.
Yeah.
Boom, you got an extra spot.
You have to do the lift, and it's not just the lift. More than likely, you have to also change your garage door tracks. So you'll have to do a shaft-driven one, which is a different type of motor that drives the garage door from the shaft, and then you have to change the track system so that it goes up towards the ceiling. A lot of times, if you look in your garage, more than likely your tracks are basically the height of your garage door, which you're not gonna, your garage door is gonna hit your car if you put it on the lift at that point.
But honestly, when you put a piece of art in your garage, you might want to go ahead and do your floors and lights too. But that's just me.
Good point. Yeah, plan to do the epoxy floor before you bring the lift in, for sure.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, maybe I'll hold off on the supercar. Today we talked about personal branding, supercars, the strategy, tax discipline. You know, we really kind of just went deep on the theme of, you know, leadership requires humility, adjustment, and to put yourself out there. And there's great ways to do it. There's fantastic strategies. I want you to walk away with 2 things though. Ask yourself where you're hiding instead of leading, because I really want everybody to kind of get out there and get out of your comfort zone. I find sometimes I'm in the same place as Chris. I go, do I really have to post this? Do I really need to videotape this? You know, I'm just out doing this errand. But it's about, especially with 2026, and if everybody's kind of following what Instagram and Facebook is doing, it's really, you're building your own show, right? This is about you like having this story that people are following and understanding the experiences, the life cycles, what you're doing on a day-to-day. They want to know, are you a family man? Are you a car guy? Are you heavily involved in your company? What's going on with your company? and people are interested in that. And so get out of your comfort zone. The other is pick one place to show up more visibly, even if it's uncomfortable. Maybe you start going to these car rally shows to get an idea of, what these other business owners are doing. Maybe this is something you want to do. Maybe you've never been to a car rally before. So, really try and get yourself out of there. And
I want to point out one underlying message that I took away with my pen here. And that is like intentional alignment more than the supercars, right? It doesn't have to be a supercar. You just need clarity on what room you belong to. And find that common thing to get to that room, like Kurt identified as the supercar owners and enthusiasts, right? So that's a main takeaway, I think, is like intentional alignment. These guys have done better job than anyone I know in that category, and they use the supercar to get there, and they continue to use other tools to get in those crowds from what they learn. So.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I would have said too if you had asked. I don't really have, short of my moving friends, all my friends are car guys. Like my entire network has changed, and it's like my friends now are, with the exception of a few, grandfathered in people that I've had my whole life, they're car guys, and it's a good type of dynamic to be involved in as a business owner, and just surround. And they say your network is your net worth. Your environment is gonna contribute to what you produce. And I really enjoy hanging out with my car friends that, different real estate builders, different industries, and they bring their own experiences and their own wisdom and things that they've brought to the table, just like we all do when we get together.
I got something I noticed on social media. I got one bone to pick with Chris. I got a Bronco when they first came out that was, Chris claims it. It's his blue. It was a beautiful Bronco that he loved. And everything that I would put on social media with that Bronco, immediate hearts from Chris. I wrapped that Bronco. There was one broken heart emoji. It was a broken heart emoji after I wrapped it navy blue. And he hasn't liked anything since with that Bronco in there.
I do the same thing with Theo, man. His blue car, he's getting hard.
My Theo? My buddy Theo?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's the one who had the 720. It's like his second or third 720. The one he got, him and I were riding together, and he blew past me, and I was like, oh.
We got a very similar look of car for sure.
Yeah. He's good stuff. He's one of my closest friends, man.
Hey, I really got to roll though.
Yeah, we're rolling. We're rolling. Hey,
much.
listen, this has been a great episode. I appreciate you boys. For all those that are listening, stay movified, and until next time, just make sure you're subscribing, liking, and commenting. If you want to get a supercar, these are the two boys to check out. And until next time, thanks guys.
Yeah, I'll talk cars any day.
All right. Relocator on Instagram.
That's right.